We are talking conference championship Saturday, Daniel. And if you're not in a conference championship and
you don't need to listen to this pod.
If you're hoping that your team has a mega weekend in college football because another team lost, congratulations. Your poverty and your program is worthless.
And Jim Harbaugh owns you.
Owns you, Ohio State. We're talking all them betting lines for all them games, including the SEC Championship, here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, and everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen, Clint, of the day, right here, the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
I'm glad you're talking first listen, Daniel.
We appreciate it. We appreciate you. Now, let's talk about. We're here to talk about the SEC Championship game. We have had, but not to toot our own horn,
okay,
Clint,
But
we've had a heck of a week of shows. It's been a fun time.
These have been bangers, Daniel.
It's been a fun time leading up. And so, listen, if you haven't caught up on all the shows, go back to last Saturday. Last Saturday night, we got a recap show of the Georgia Tech game. We got into some things. Tuesday, had another great episode coming out on Wednesday. Had Caroline Fenton of Locked On LSU on the pod. Got to talk about where the LSU fans' headspace is, which LSU fan down in the comments, I haven't heard much from you, but wondering how you're doing, just wondering how things are for you. And yesterday, did anything happen yesterday on the pod?
Look, y'all, if you listen to us on podcasts, thank you so much. If you're on a YouTube subscriber, head on over to podcasts, find Locked On Bulldogs, subscribe, download. Even if you don't listen to it, helps
we
your
would
boys
appreciate
out.
if you're a YouTube subscriber.
Just get there.
Subscribe to the audio podcast as well. That would help.
If you were on the audio side or the YouTube side, you saw Chris on.
You heard him. I guarantee you heard him, whether you saw him or not. There were some things said.
There were
on
a
the
lot
pod,
of things said.
But I think it's worth a listen if you're a Georgia fan. Not safe for work, but I think it's worth a listen.
Put those headphones on.
If you're a Georgia fan, listen to some things he has to say. But let's not belabor the point, Clint. People do not love the banter. So let's get right to the nitty-gritty of the SEC Championship game. Now, it's been a minute since your Georgia Bulldogs have won the SEC Championship. It's been a full 5 years.
Sure.
I remember it well.
I do.
It was a great game. It was a great day in
beautiful.
2017. I want to taste it again. I want to go back there.
I
want to get that. I need it. I need to have it. Let's talk about how we expect the game to play out. Las Vegas thinks it's going to be Georgia comfortably, and they think it's going to be Georgia in a relatively low-scoring affair. The over-under is set at 51, and the line at this moment is 17.5. Clint, that's only up. I brought this up to Caroline on Wednesday. That's only up 1 point, even after LSU's debacle in College Station over the weekend. Vegas standing by their, standing true to what they set the line at originally, only moving at 1 point. 17.5, 51 is the total, Clint. Do you like a side? Do you like a total? And how do you expect this game is going to play out?
Daniel, we talked on this podcast. This 51 number, Vegas, I applaud you. You just guys love money in Vegas.
They do like to have money.
Because the 51 number, Daniel, is what we've talked about. Many people talk in the SEC Championship, this shootout, this points galore. And we've talked, no. If you've watched this Georgia team, if you've watched this LSU team, Daniel, you're going to know that 51 number is right around what I would anticipate. So I was going to take the under no matter what.
Yep.
I don't know if I can now because it's right in that zone. They have nailed this number for me.
I'm still going to take the under, by the way. I'm still going to take it.
I guess that's the point. If we were to pick a side in this game, I don't like the spread at all. That 17.5, Daniel, is a lot of points.
It is a lot of points. I have the game now. I'm at a bit of a disadvantage because Caroline forced it out of me on Wednesday. Yeah. I'm on record 31-13, and I'm not going to change that. I'm going to stick with that. And so I am a very narrow cover by Georgia. Narrow cover. And I am under by a sizable margin, by about 7 points. I'm under on this spread. So I definitely like the under more than I like Georgia laying the points.
Yeah, and that under, I would have this game. You already have given your prediction for the week. My prediction for the week is 28-8. I'm giving that 8 number out. Maybe, Brian Kelly comes out there.
He goes for a meaningless 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter.
Say he won't, Daniel.
That sounds like a long snapper flings it over Brett Thorson's head through the back of the end zone and 2 field goals.
But look, the 20 points is well within the cover. I understand that, but I still don't like it. The under is in play for me. If I had a lean in this game, it's the under because I said so. My principle was that I think how this LSU matchup, they don't match up favorably against us, Daniel.
They don't. And you look at the season. We haven't talked about this game a ton, just you and I. We haven't broken it down a ton. But do you know who the best running back on this team is?
He's the quarterback.
It's Jaden Daniels. Yeah, it's the quarterback. Do you know who has the most carries on the team?
It's the quarterback.
It's Jaden Daniels. Yeah. So, and do you know what Georgia's game plan is going to be geared towards stopping?
Stop the quarterback run.
It's the quarterback. Yeah. So that's going to be the thing. I think Smile Mon and JDJ. We talked about this on Tuesday. I think it's a huge matchup for Georgia, and health notwithstanding, because I think the kid's going to be fine and the kid's going to play. I think it's just he's going to have to stand in the pocket and spin it downfield to have a chance against Georgia. And they have the dudes to do it.
They have the wide receivers, 100%. Have they done that all year? Daniel?
When he feels the pressure from 88 and 13 and 33, when he feels the pressure, will Jaden Daniels be able to stand in there and spin it downfield and not just tuck the ball and think that he can do something? That I don't think is real. That's what we've not seen from them this entire season. And so, I don't see a path to LSU scoring a ton of points. And Georgia's red zone defense has been awesome.
Elite
this year.
Best in the nation.
Yeah, so even if they move the ball, which I think they might, I just think Georgia is going to be able to, for the most part, keep them out of the end zone. I got them scoring that 1 touchdown, but I feel good about holding this team under 20 for sure. And I think if you hold them under 20, that under is definitely in play.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Hey, we're going to come back after this, after these messages. But first, I want to let you about BetOnline, Daniel. BetOnline is the official sportsbook expert of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcast everywhere.
Yep.
All these bets that we're going to be talking about, Daniel, for Championship Saturday, people can go to BetOnline. It's right there. Head over there.
They're what safe. They should do then.
They're reliable.
Yep.
They got everything that you need. They got parlays. We talking crazy talk, Daniel. We talking.
Hey, listen.
Sometimes
lines. The Dukes and the Weldon brothers, they got to get out there. They got to get themselves a little. They got to sprinkle a little bit on everything.
Look, you get that cheddar. Okay.
You go to the all-you-can-eat buffet. You don't come back with one item.
No,
you come back with a whole plate full of items.
And that's what BetOnline has, Daniel. They got all the items, the official sportsbook sponsors of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcasts everywhere. Head over there right now. BetOnline, your sportsbook experts.
All right, Clint, let's start talking about some championship game locks. So we're going to play the hits first.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And let's start on Friday night. This is the biggest game of Ohio State's season.
Was that a
It's
Casey
happening on
Kasem
Friday night. Yeah.
reference?
Yeah, the top 30, top 40. Yeah. That's top 40 countdown.
Just making sure.
Most of the people listening to this podcast have no idea who that human being is.
Absolutely fine by me.
Nor what the medium radio is. They're not familiar with that either. Let's talk about the Pac-12 championship game. Ohio State's hoping to win it. Ohio State is really hoping to claim their first Pac-12 title in school history.
I honestly, I don't feel sorry for many fan bases.
Uh-huh.
I got a neighbor. He went to Ohio State.
Okay.
He played tight end at Ohio State.
Did he recently set his apartment on fire?
He wept openly, Daniel.
Okay. Yeah.
So
It's been a tough go.
tough go.
Been
Now
a
he
tough
is
go
not
of
the
it.
Ohio State fan. He will say, "Hey, look, we lost. Like that's on us." He's, I think, the only Ohio State fan in the world saying that right now.
So he's not the guy that runs the Mr. Ohio Twitter account. Is that what you're trying to say?
I know this for a fact. He is not.
You know that for a fact. Okay, well, that's nice. Let's talk about USC and Utah. It's 3 points right now.
That's
USC and Utah. They said
narrow.
narrowest of margins.
That's
Okay.
narrow.
So, last week, USC not getting a lot of respect against Notre Dame.
No.
4.5 points is what that line closed at.
And they came out swinging.
I snatched it up and cashed easily. I'm going to do the same thing this week, Clint. Give me USC, and I'm going to lay them. I think this team is not getting the respect that it is due. I think people still have some Utah, Oregon, PTSD Pac-12 title game when Utah came out and just absolutely bludgeoned Oregon in the mouth and beat them physically in last year's title game. I don't think that's going to happen because USC has a soft as all get out defense. I will grant you that. I will give you that. But I think the offensive line and the offensive front for USC actually can be pretty physical. They can run the ball. I don't think the defensive front for Utah is going to overpower the offensive front from USC. And USC's got the first, second, and third best players in this game. And so I feel like they're going to score. And I don't know that Cam Rising and Utah are going to be able to hang with them. And so I'm going to lay them. What say you?
I'm laying the points as well. But in all these picks, Daniel, this is my least favorite because it's the Pac-12. Y'all?
It's the Bill Walton philosophy of the Pac-12. Whatever is the worst case scenario for the Pac-12, that is what the Pac-12 will do.
Will happen. So I'm laying the points as well. USC's the most talented team. Caleb Williams, look, that dude can ball. He can spin.
He can play.
It's something. So yes, Daniel, the hits keep on coming. However,
Okay.
You want to go next to playoff contenders?
Yeah, let's stick with the teams that
top four.
matter, and then
Yeah.
we'll go to the rest of the Power 5
Thank you.
conferences.
Fantastic. TCU, Horned Frogs, playing Kansas State. Daniel,
Yep.
the spread
you
right
want to talk
now.
about a spread?
You want to talk about narrow? Let's get thinner. How about
Yeah.
2.5 is the spread in this game? Over under is 62, which is kind of wild to me, if I'm being perfectly honest. That's a fair amount of points for 2.5. Usually, when you get lots of points out there, I mean, I know there's certain teams like Oklahoma used to be able to play with some high-powered offenses and close games like that. But typically, if it's that many points, it's going to be 10, 17, something like that as a point spread. 2.5, Daniel, less than a field goal.
2.5. Let's talk about why this point spread is what it is. The last time these teams did play this season, they played at TCU.
Home for the Horned Frogs.
Home game.
And what had happened?
And that game it ended up being a 10-point win for TCU, but that was not indicative of how the game went. Kansas State was right there in that game, and Kansas State in that game lost not only their starting quarterback, but then they had lost their backup quarterback as well. And Kansas State played, from my memory, most of, if not all of the fourth quarter of that game with a third-string quarterback and still was hanging around in there with TCU. Now, obviously, Kansas State is starting the guy who was the backup in that game, who a lot of people believe ahead of Adrian Martinez. I can't remember the kid's name, but not Adrian Martinez, the other guy. I think the offense is better now that they've
better.
made that switch.
Yeah.
He's healthy again. He's back and leading the charge. TCU's not playing at home in this game.
Uh-oh.
But TCU has gotten better, Clint.
I don't know how they are like the cat of the NCAA playoff committee. Like every time you think they're going to die, they snatch victory from the hand of defeat.
They're not surviving. That's the misconception about TCU. And I might have been guilty of feeling that way several weeks ago.
I'm right here. I've already said I've given my mea culpa. I apologize publicly 3 times to TCU.
They're not surviving. They are getting better as a football team. And I don't think this game is going to be close at all.
TCU going to roll them, Daniel.
I would lay 9 in this game. So I will bet 2.5. But I'll tell you what else I'm going to do, Clint.
Give it to me.
I'm going to go look for some of that alternate money.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Oh, I do.
And I'm going to lay several points with TCU. What if I were to tell you that I could get you a TCU -9?
Okay. What's the juice?
For plus 280?
Yeah, that's fine. That's a couple that's a 3-team parlay favorite right there that I can get that for.
That's just a
It's
single
a one-teamer.
single unit.
Okay.
You like that.
No.
I like TCU in this game. If
let's-
USC makes me the most nervous, TCU is my most confident play of the week.
TCU does not make me nervous at all.
I like it.
I like it as well. And again, one more time, Blake, I apologize.
Yeah. Blake, I do not. You deserve everything. You let's talk. Let's go. Let's go
Michigan?
Purdue, Michigan.
Yeah, Purdue, Michigan. This line is not fit.
Purdue is playing in a conference championship game.
Look, here's the deal. A couple things really quick with Purdue. I have bet Purdue a couple times this year to cover, and they've produced some amazing results.
They've produced. Is that what you said?
I did.
They've produced.
I did.
Okay.
Is that a little
He's been
too,
here. He's been here all week, people.
Is that a little too on the nose?
He's been here all week.
Look, we had Mahler on last night, and things got crazy. I'm still not recovered from that.
No.
Okay, Purdue's playing some good football, Daniel. I know.
Okay.
Now, look, it's a conference that is weak. They are down. Michigan seems to be steamrolling. 17 points is a lot of points. Do you think Michigan is coasting in this game, Daniel?
I don't care if Michigan's coasting or not in this game. They're not going to cover 17.
I don't care either. Purdue's playing good football, and Michigan just played their absolute souls on fire last week, Daniel. The tank is empty.
I don't think Michigan's going to lose in this game.
No, I don't either.
But they're not the least likely top 4 team to lose. I'll tell you that. And they're not the second least likely top 4 team to lose either. Purdue's covering this 17.
It's a lot of points.
Purdue is covering. Give me Purdue plus the 17.
I do as well. Look, I said they're playing good football. Y'all can make fun of me for that, but they actually are. And it's the Big Ten, and things get crazy in the Big Ten, and it's good old Midwest football. Have you ever seen Nebraska?
Is Iowa
play?
playing in this game? They are not.
They are not. Hey, we're going to come back after this, hit you with some more hits, but first, these ads.
Great announcements.
Great.
Had a great time with announcements. Having a casserole dinner down in the fellowship hall later, and so wanted to make sure everybody knew about that.
Look, the Narthex, Daniel, needs a fresh
The
coat
East
of paint.
Narthex. Yes, if you want to do that, we're going to be doing that on Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay, let's talk about the ACC Championship game because I guess we have to.
Oh, my gosh, we have to.
Clemson and North Carolina.
Can I say I don't care? Is that
Are there two teams that hate themselves more than Clemson and North Carolina right now?
Do you think the face that Nick Saban has is because he's old and outdated and he hates his team?
Okay. All of those things are true.
Mac Brown has that face on because I don't know if Mac Brown knows what year it is currently.
Mac Brown has that face on, and he may be being filmed for a commercial for a prescription drug. Like at this moment.
If you were a loved one that you know
are suffering from this, and then it's just a picture of Mac Brown, current Mac Brown,
because he got that Jorge Pickens stance to him. But it's not ironic stance. It's his stance because he don't know how to stand.
Yeah.
Okay.
7.5 points, Clint. Where are you going?
You get 7.5 in this game?
I'm seeing 7.5 right now.
Okay, something weird happening because I see it at 9 at a couple sites, Daniel.
9 points Clemson is favored by?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm not interested in either of those numbers.
No.
Do you know what number I'm interested in?
Give me that.
The North Carolina money line.
The sprinkle. Because look, Ua Ungalale, you want to see a coach that don't know how to coach a roster. Dabo, you could have made the playoffs.
George Vance, talk to me about West Virginia's quarterback room right now, real quick, just in case we're talking about mismanaging quarterbacks. Talk to me about West Virginia's quarterback depth.
It's interesting.
It is
because JT Daniels has played himself to non-existent.
Out of a job. That's right.
He's not playing.
Meanwhile, Stetson Bennett is about to compete for his second national championship, and Clemson, on the other hand, has now for 2 consecutive years been trotting this man out on the field, even though he has been legally deceased for all that time.
Make the switch. Literally deceased.
This man has been pronounced dead. We held a funeral for him in Charlotte. It was at a Wendy's. There was a lot of mourning there involved. I personally was weeping quite a bit.
He was personally weeping. It wasn't for Ua Ungale's actual death, but he was crying.
I was weeping in a Wendy's parking lot.
If you think I am kidding you that I literally had to carry Daniel, you don't know.
Is it the third segment yet?
It is.
Yeah, the third segment, listeners. Well, we're glad you're here.
North Carolina winning this game, Daniel.
I like it. If you catch 9,
I'm catching 9.
Please give me 9. Just take 9.
Oh, I bet it already. I'll probably triple bet it by the time that Saturday comes around.
That's a lot of points. All right. Open board, Clint. What else do you like?
Give me Boise State.
Catching
or given 3.5. They were given 3. The line jumped to 3.5. I don't care. Boise State winning this game. I didn't think they were playing good football. They played inspired football down the stretch. Fresno State started hot. I don't think they can keep up. I think talent gap is the key here, and give me Boise State.
You can still catch a 3 out there. There's some 3s out there.
Well, then give me that.
I like. I'm gonna go the UTSA Roadrunners in the Conference USA championship game. I'm seeing an 8.5 out there. I like that number a lot. You run lay 'em with UTSA. It's gonna be a Friday night special as well, so you can catch that during the commercials of the USC Utah game. Man, that Saturday night. No, I'm sorry. That Saturday. That Saturday night slate. It's tough. There's not a lot. You got Purdue, Michigan, and if Purdue doesn't keep that game close, what do you think about Tulane, UCF? This is a rematch. This is the most intriguing non-Power 5 game of the weekend.
Because UCF, Daniel, the Gus Bus.
Both of these teams are good teams. These are
Tulane's a good
quality
team.
football teams. They're both good. Yeah, they're both good. UCF had a stumble a few weeks ago, but they're still a good football team, I think.
3.5 is a line. Do you see it for 3? Is there still 3.5?
I see a 3.5 still.
Yeah. Okay. My lean is Green Wave, Daniel.
Yeah, I'd lean towards the green wave too. I wonder though if the Georgia fans are going to laugh at this. I wonder if Gus Malzahn in a game like this is not a positive for UCF that pushes them over the top, and they maybe are able to go out and get this win.
I don't think that's bad, especially with, wasn't it Tulane's coach that was rumored at Georgia Tech?
Yes, but he didn't get that job.
No, because Georgia Tech pulled a smart move, which I did not see
they
coming.
actually did the thing. Dude, that guy's, I almost tweeted this today. That guy, Brent Key's first call should be to Cadillac Williams. He ought to call him and say, hey, I'll pay you any amount of money to have any job you want, and we'll just put together a staff of interim coaches, and we'll all just go over there. It was a great move by Georgia Tech. Do you have a lean in Army-Navy next week? And did you see those Army Black Knight uniforms that they are going to be wearing?
Here's the deal.
I had to go immediately change my pants.
Here's the deal. Before I saw those uniforms, I was heavy Navy. And then Army came out, and I said,
no,
let's switch this around because the
uniforms of the Army-Navy game has become my favorite college football tradition, and I'm not joking about that.
It's gorgeous. Those tank uniforms that Army has are exceptional, and I mean exceptional.
Exquisite. Listen, enjoy your time at the Benz this weekend, Georgia fans. Enjoy a championship, we hope. On Saturday against LSU, a little bit of, it's not really redemption for 2019, but it will be nice to get a win against LSU and put things right again in this series. And as we said at the beginning of the week, this is the postseason. This is the first game of the postseason. A championship game here. And then hopefully, if we win it, Clint, we get our next game right there in that very same building.
Same spot.
Which would be very nice. So, Georgia fans, enjoy this. We will be back on Saturday night.
We make it down to Atlanta?
We'll just see where we end up.
Okay. All right.
We'll just see where we end up, is all. I'm already probably gonna be down. And so the question is, are you gonna make it down to Atlanta?
Look, here, drop us a comment. Drop a comment over on the podcast side once you subscribe and download.
Yeah.
And also on the YouTube. Can I leave my children at home?
Just at
me.
home.
Can I just leave my diehard children who are 11 and 9 at home?
Will they hate you forever?
You tell me, parents.
Or we just need a few more tickets. we just need to acquire a handful. Let's call them.
Let's call it 5.
A small gaggle of tickets we'll need, but that's not that many. All right, we'll be back Saturday night breaking down, overreacting to the SEC Championship game here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Thanks for subscribing to the YouTube. Thanks for subscribing to the audio, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we will see you guys Saturday.
See ya.